Hey everybody, welcome to our next training session to integrate giving quality feedback into your Google Classroom and Google Doc and overall Google experience with your students this coming year. So we are going to get started in just a couple of seconds here, just a couple of things. So just a reminder, we do have a few upcoming webinars and training sessions coming up in the next few weeks, and I will be adding more for the month of September as well. So check those out. And by the way, those will be later on at night. Since I am going back to school in September, I won't be able to do daytime training sessions, so those will be available they'll be recorded live at night instead. So, and I'll leave those there for you as well. I'll leave them in this group so you can take a look at those and use them whenever you want and whenever you get a chance, because I know things get really crazy busy during the school year. So we have those upcoming trainings at the end of this month and then also in September. Also, don't forget that we do have that Google Classroom training group, and all of those videos are in there. Go back, watch them, tell your friends about them. I've had a lot of questions saying, hey, where are they? Just let them know that they're in the photos section or the video section, depending if you're looking on your phone or if you're looking on the computer. I think on your phone it does say that they're in the photo section, whereas if you're online there is a separate video section altogether. So hopefully you enjoy today's training. It is about giving quality feedback to students, and really it's going to be based on a couple of things. So first of all, I'm just going to show you how to give that very basic those commenting features and show you how to use the commenting feature. But then I'm also going to go into something brand new that's I will give you up front. I'll say this, it is a little tricky, okay? It does get a little tricky to use this, but once you get it installed, I think you guys are going to love this. So we are going to be talking about two things. We're going to be talking about the add-on called Doctopus, okay? And I'm going to explain that and show it to you today. So it is called Doctopus. And then there's an extension that you are going to use as well that you're going to need to put in into your computer, and that is called Goobric, okay, Goobric, and I'll show you both of those. I'll show you where to get them, I'll show you where to install them, and you should be good to go there. So let's jump in, let's get started, and any questions you have, just let me know, because I know it does get just, like I said, a little confusing, and maybe it is, it's in the very beginning, it's a little tricky to use, but once you do it, I absolutely know that it's going to help your students out, it's going to help you out as a teacher for grading, it's going to make your life a lot easier. So let's get started right away. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to start off with the basics just to make sure that everybody is on the same page here. So first of all, you can see that I have a Google Doc in front of me, and let's just say that you're doing some sort of work in Google Docs where you're assigning this to the kids. So here you can see this is just a quick and simple country research project. Obviously, you're probably going to have something a little more elaborate, maybe with a few more directions on it, but this is just a test, just so I can show you. So here, you can see these are the things I'm asking kids to do: research a country, these are the things you must do. And then you can see down here that maybe a student already started writing. So just to be clear, just so everybody knows this, and I'm sure if you have used Google Classroom in the past before, you've probably seen this feature in here and you've used this. I use this all the time. You can actually highlight something, and a little plus comes up over here on the right-hand side. So once I click Add a Comment, I can actually go ahead and say, this is, let's say, whoops, this is a good topic sentence, whoops, but do you think you could begin with a question? Right? Because in my class, we talk about how do you do a good opening sentence, and sometimes, we talk about how starting with a question or starting with a sound. There's different things that we obviously talk about that that make things just a little more interesting for the reader. So, I'm going to stick that in there, and I'm going to say comment. So you can see over here on the right-hand side, now that comes up there. On the kids' end, so on the students' end, they're going to be able to see that question pop right up, and then they can actually respond to me or resolve it. So maybe they go ahead and they do put in a question for that first sentence, and at that point, they can go ahead and resolve that, or they could leave it there. It's really up to you, however you decide to do it in your classroom. Maybe you tell the kids, you know what, I don't want you to resolve anything. I don't want you to get rid of anything.
just to be safe. There is over here on the right-hand side, the open the comments thread. You can see all of the comments. Even if the kids resolve them, you can still see them over there on the right-hand side. So the kids can see that, I can see that, and it is there. So I'm going to go ahead and push resolve here. And so that is just one way that you can give feedback, right? And that I believe is probably the thing that I use the most. I'm using that feature all the time when the kids are writing, and as they're writing, I go in and I'll highlight something and say, hey, this is really good, but do you think you could do this? Or, hey, this is really good. Can you go share it with, can you go share it with somebody else so maybe they can get an idea and you can teach them the great things that you're doing. So that is a really easy and simple way to give really good quality feedback to students as they're using Google Docs or Google Slides in conjunction with Google Classroom. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to jump into something a little new. I'm going to jump into something that there's actually a couple of different pieces here. So first of all, I am going to begin with this. Let's say that you have a rubric that you're making your rubrics, or you're transferring some of your old rubrics over into Google Sheets. So maybe you have one, that you've used for years for writing, but you want to bring that over into Sheets. So I just gave you a very simple example. This is a rubric based on the country research project that we were just looking at. So now that you see, and you know what, honestly, this is not one that I'd probably use in my classroom. This is, I would want to add more information. I'd tweak things around a little bit, but just for demonstration purposes, this is what you're seeing here. So across the top here, I have my 1, 2, 3, and 4, and down the side are the areas that I'm looking for kids to be working on during this assignment, and then I have my 1, 2, 3, and 4s for each one of those as well. Okay, so I have my levels of achievement there for each one of those. Okay, so you want to have this set up. Before I go into this whole next piece, the very first step is you definitely want to make sure that you have a rubric that has been created in Google Sheets. It needs to have the numbers across the top and the areas that you're assessing, that you're grading down the side. Okay, so you definitely want to make sure that you have that. Okay. Once I have that, I can close it up. You want to make sure that you know what it's called. Actually, I'm going to call this, let's call this Country Research Rubric. Okay. Bear with me because I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this, and I'm going to show you a couple of apps and a couple of add-ons that we're going to use for this. So just hang tight with me. But just so you know, in this whole process, the very first thing you want to do is you want to make your own rubric. Okay, so I'm going to close that up. And now I'm going to go over to Sheets again, and I'll show you why in just a second. So I'm going to open up that tab. Okay. Now you can see that I opened up Google Classroom. I'm going to go in Google Classroom, and I'm going to create an assignment. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say Create Assignment. And I'm going to give this to all of my students. Right now I only have one student there because this is just a test class. And I'm going to say that this is Country Research. Okay. Project. All right. Now, I'm not going to put instructions in here because I'm going to put my instructions here. I am going to attach my country research. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that from my Google Drive. And I'm going to click on Country Research. And I do want to assign that to each one of the students. So I'm going to make a copy for each one of the students. I only have one, but if you had a whole class, it would make a copy for each one of those kids. Okay. So now that that's there, I am going to go ahead and I am going to assign that. And as we've talked about in past training sessions, you can see the turned in and the assigned. If I click on that, it shows all of the kids who have that at this point. Nobody has completed it. No one's turned it in because I just assigned it. But you can see if I open it up, I would be able to see each one of the kids' work. Okay, so now I'm going to go back over to Google Sheets, and these are the new things that I'm going to be teaching you today, the new things that I think are going to make a huge difference in giving quality feedback to students. I am going to make a blank spreadsheet. So this is, like I said, this is Google Sheets. If you want to get there, it's just sheets.google.com. Okay. Right now, I'm going to go up to the add-ons button. I'm not sure if you've seen add-ons before, but add-ons are basically they're very similar to extensions with the exception of this. So extensions go up here, and they're these little things that are embedded into Google Google Chrome, into your Chrome browser, where add-ons are they're pieces that you can use inside of Google Sheets, Google Docs. There's different places where you can use these, but right now I'm using an add-on that I'm going to be creating rubrics with, and this is called Doctopus. Okay, it is called Doctopus. To add this on, I already have it here. But if you were to add this on, you would go to your blank Google Sheets spreadsheet, go to add-ons, click on Get Add-ons, and search for Doctopus. I already have it, so you'll see it right here, but you're going to search for Doctopus and add it. Okay, so now I'm going to click on Doctopus, and I'm going to click on Launch. It does take a couple of seconds, but I'll lead you through the entire process here, and I promise you are going to love the results of this. So just bear with me while I'm showing you the setup of this. All right, so let's see. Don't ever show that to me again. Okay, all right, so right over here on the right-hand side, once I click Launch, there is a Doctopus bar that pops up, and the one right up here on the very top, it says Step 1, I want to use Doctopus 2. And then what do you want to do here? Well, I'm actually, right now, I'm going to ingest a Google Classroom assignment. So if you remember correctly, I went over here, I created, inside of this class, I created this assignment, and it was a country research assignment that I created through Google Docs. Now I'm going to go back over to my spreadsheet, and I'm going to say that I do, in fact, want to ingest a Google Classroom assignment. So I'm going to click that. And it does take a couple seconds, and it says, hey, which assignment do you, which class do you want to assign this to? And I'm going to say this one was Mr. Malt's class, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then after that, it says, which assignment do you want to attach this to? So I'm going to say that this is going to be the country research project, the one that I just created. And at this point, I'm going to say, so you can see here, it says found 0 turned in, and 1 is not yet turned in. For your class, once the kids start working on it, you can add this either while they're working at the beginning, or you can add this rubric to the assignment at the very end when you're ready to grade it. Personally, I'm going to do it before. I'm going to do it while they're just getting started with this, because I want them to know the expectations of my assignment. So I am going to say that right now I'm going to ingest the assignment. And like I said, it does take a couple of seconds here. You will see, yep, hopefully in a second here it pops up. Okay, all right, so now there's a couple of other options here, and I'm going to click, don't show this to me again. Okay, so now you can see the person's first name and last name, the student's first name and last name, the email address, and some other information here that you don't really need to worry about at this point. There is a link there to the actual document itself. Okay, so if, this would be that particular student's link to that document. So when you have multiple kids in here, they're all going to be listed, and you're going to have the link to that specific assignment. Okay, it hasn't been turned in yet, so it just gives you a little bit of information. Now, what is not here yet is this. Okay, so actually, let me jump over here. So there's no rubric attached to this yet, and that's what we're doing right now. We are attaching a rubric. So I am going to attach something called a Goobric. A Goobric is an extension, and this is the next piece of this that I want to make sure that I'm very clear about. So if you remember correctly from if you watched our last training session on extensions, on Google extensions, you can add different extensions up here at the top to be able to help you with various tasks, various things, just to make your life easier, right? To add those, you're going to go to the Google Web Store. And we're going to click right up here at the top. Oh, I went to the wrong one. Hang on, my bad, sorry. The Google Chrome Web Store. There we go. So I want to go to the the Chrome Store. I keep clicking the wrong one. Sorry, Chrome Web Store. There it is. Okay, finally. All right, so I just want to be clear because I just did like 3 things wrong. So you're gonna do it's the Chrome Web Store, the Chrome Web Store. Okay, so it's right here. It's chrome.google.com. All right, so once you're here, you're gonna see that it says extensions, and you can actually you're gonna be searching. I already have it installed, but you're gonna be searching for Goobric. All right, so once we have Goobric, it's right here. You're gonna click on. So it's gonna say Add to Chrome. There's gonna be a little plus sign there. You can click that and add it. I already have it in. but this is going to help you with the next piece of this, okay? So this is going to help you with getting your rubric that we created into the actual spreadsheet, into the spreadsheet that, or I'm sorry, into the assignment that we created for our students, okay? I promise you, bear with me because you're really going to appreciate what you see happening here, okay? So just bear with me, and I promise that this is after the first time of getting this actually set up, it makes your life a lot easier after, okay? So right now that I already have that in there, I'm going to say that I want to attach a Goobric, okay? Just think about it as a rubric. I already created that rubric. I showed it to you in the very beginning here. Now I'm going to attach that Goobric. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it does take a couple of seconds here. I am going to grab this from my drive because that's where I created it. It is going to open up, and we are going to say I called this one test rubric. So we're going to go ahead and do test rubric. I'm going to open that up. All right, so we're going to attach that rubric here. And this does take a couple of seconds because it is taking that rubric that we created and throwing it inside of this this assignment that we're giving to kids. And as soon as it's done, I'll be able to open it up and show you actually what it does. Okay, let's see. So, yep, and you can actually see that it's working in the background there. Right up here, it's adding all of those in. It's adding all of the topics that I'm assessing, that I'm scoring. Okay. All right. So, and you do have the options over here on the side. There's a few different options you can play around with those. So now I'm going to go back over to my Google Classroom, and I'm going to go to the assignment that I gave. So let's see what the student would see here. So now you can see that there's this this is the original assignment with some of the work here. I'm going to go up and I'm going to click on the Goobric app launcher. So I just click on that, and now you're going to see what happens here. All right, so now you can see that down here you have the student's work, and I up here have the different topics that I created in my rubric. So, included 4 facts. Okay, this person did a really good job with this. 4. Appropriate grammar, punctuation, spelling. Okay, there's 2 to 3 mistakes in here. And of course, I would do, I would look much more closely than I am right now. Included transition words. Transition words. I am going to say this person included 3 transition words. And now I can also give comments over here. I like the way that you ... Okay, so now I could give some really good quality feedback in here. I'm also giving those rubric scores in there as well. And now I'm going to say, notice that there's a couple of buttons down here that says also email scores to Kevin, auto advance on submit, and only add scored categories to the doc. So I scored all 3 of the categories. I can just double check here, and you can see because it shows that I gave him a 4 for this, and there's a 4 here, okay? 3 here, and notice that the 3 is right here. And same thing over here, okay? All right, so now I'm going to submit this, and I want you to see what happens here. So I am going to now, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to open this up again, and notice what just happened. Okay, so this is the student's document right here, and this person obviously did not finish this writing passage. I'm just showing it to you for today. But you can see that that rubric was just put right into the document itself, and down here on the bottom, my comments are down there as well, okay? So it tells the time, it tells the date, it tells their overall score, it tells the comments. To me, I think this is one of the easiest ways that we can give some really good quality feedback. Could I copy and paste a rubric in here? Of course I could. I could just take a rubric that I already have created and paste it inside of this document, but this is just a really simple way for it to be added automatically by using those 2 things. So the 2 things that we use, I just want to recap. In the add-on that we added into our Google Sheet was called Doctopus. Okay, so you do need to make sure that you get that add-on. So get add-on, it's called Doctopus. And the other thing that you need is the extension, the Chrome extension, which is called, it's right over here, it is called Goobric. So these 2 things work together to give students some quality feedback that looks like this right here. okay? So if they're doing any sort of research project, any sort of project, anything that they're writing, you can take your rubrics, create them in Google Sheets, and then automatically have them placed inside of the projects that you're assigning to students in Google Classroom, okay? So I hope that all makes sense. Any questions you have, please let me know. I know this is a lot of information. I know it's a lot of, it's a lot of brand new information that maybe you haven't used before. But the rubric is the power of the rubric. We know the power of the rubric. It tells kids what we are expecting from them. And if we can get that to kids and we can start assigning and we can put those right into and embed those into their projects, that's going to be unbelievably powerful for our kids. So ask any questions you have. I know you probably have a lot, and I will try to help you as much as I possibly can. I'm going to leave this video up. I'll leave it up so you can watch it and rewatch it if you want to see the steps that I took to get where I was. Like I said, any questions you have, please don't hesitate to ask. All right, have a great day, everyone. I hope you enjoyed.